Very cool. All right. Well, hello everyone. My name is Marta, and we are going to be talking about journaling today. But before we get into that, I just want to lay out some ground rules and just tell you a little bit about who I am and why we're seeing this feelings thermometer that is not at all accurate or representative of how feelings actually work. But I did want to use a visual or something like this for the purposes of journaling because I am not a therapist and I am not here to guide you through a therapy session with journaling. I am here to teach you a little bit about journaling, um, give you a little bit of history and give you some examples of the different types of journaling. And the reason we're seeing this feelings thermometer is because I want to keep you in the green. If you need to go into the yellow a little bit today, that's okay. But if you see yourself going into that little orange and red, we want to bring ourselves back down, maybe change up what we're doing or what we're journaling about, and bring us back down into that green, to the we're feeling great, where I'm feeling okay and pretty good to be here. So I just wanted to start with that. And then we can go ahead and get started on our. I do have a little PowerPoint for you, and y'all who are here are more than welcome to participate. You can do some of these activities. You don't have to. You can just chill and listen and learn. But I'll be more than happy to hear what you or see what you come up with. So my name is Marta, and I have been bringing journaling to my community, just those around me, for years now. I created a journaling program at the community college where I was working at Madera Community College. And I just really loved how students were responding to the journaling activities we were doing in my English classes. And because of that, I decided to bring journaling to the campus. And then after COVID hit, things changed a little bit, and I decided, you know what? The community needs, I decided for the community that we needed this as a community, something to de stress. And so I do bring these classes to the local library over here in Kings County, California. So I do that as well. So without any further delay, I will go ahead and get us started on just explaining a little bit about what journaling is and the different types of journals. Um, so the um, the list you see in front of you is not a comprehensive list. There are many, many different types of journaling. These are just some. If you do have students, if there are any students here or any students that you know, the three first ones, the four, the bullet journals, the 5 Ws, questions, and free writing, those are all really good for students. But we will talk about some of these, and you'll get a chance to practice some of these as well. Um, Journaling doesn't just happen in writing form. And I think a lot of what people say or think of when I ask them about journaling is dear diary, and that's just one way. So there could be a lot of art journals as well, which we'll get into, and we can talk a little bit about that as well. Um, but we will talk about we'll do some uh, sketches and drawings, and we will talk about why those are beneficial. Um, and I will uh, not spend too much time on the history, but journaling has been around since we've been able to keep track or keep records of anything, because journaling technically is just keeping a record of something, keeping track of something. So we have had cave drawings, cave paintings, cave hieroglyphics. Those are all types of journaling. So it has been around as has art therapy. And so art therapy and journaling can go hand in hand because we can create art journals. So we can experience different kinds of journaling benefits, but before we jump too much into these, I wanted to give y'all a little bit of time, if if you will, um, and do some journaling. Just do a little bit of writing. And when I give a prompt, y'all don't have to. You don't have to do it. You don't have to follow it. You can. Um, but what I'm asking today, right now, is how are you doing? How are you feeling? What's your day been like today? You can pick one of those. So, how are you doing? How are you feeling? What has your day been like today? And you can either draw, you can sketch, you can write. So it doesn't matter which method you choose, just as long as you are exploring the question for just a minute or so. And I think maybe you can hear the music in the background.
Is that me?
That's me?
Oh, I was like, where'd this come from?
Put it on for you guys to just listen for. We're gonna do 2 minutes tops. If you guys can get into the habit of keeping that pen, pencil, whatever it is, the drawing that you're doing, if you guys can get in the habit of doing it for an entire 2 minutes, for now, that would be great. If not, it's no big deal. And again, how are you? How are you feeling? What was your day like today? You can choose one, or mix it around, or do your own thing for the next 2 minutes. Good luck, and I'm going to do it with you.
Wait, I want to do it too. Putting lotion on and such. But you mentioned it doesn't have to be like actual writing. Can it be
It
like
doesn't have to be writing. You can do a drawing. You could do a sketch. You can sketch how your day was today, or how you're feeling, what you did today. All right, take about 30 seconds to finish up. Okay. And y'all are free to share in the comments or in the chat If you like, no pressure, no one is required to share. Nice.
That's me. I just
That's
I, I thought about the questions that you asked, and I was like, I don't know. I'm kind of like tired, kind of, but like happy we have been able to raise a really good amount of money. We're like halfway to our goal, so that's good.
nice.
But also we are very close to our goal because people want me to watch scary movies, so that's not so good for me. um, yeah, but I like what you said about just like being able to do this for like about 2 minutes straight without like getting on focus on something else.
Yes.
And particularly the I think I felt better. So one of the things actually we were talking about earlier in the game that we were playing, which totally crushed, um was that like nature is good, right? And then just hearing the birds, like I don't know, that did something different to me,
That's
like
awesome.
just hearing the tweet tweet of the birds. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed out a couple things. The writing for 2 minutes straight. So free writing. I went back to this page. So free writing is just letting your thoughts roam and just writing whatever comes to mind, and that could be done with a prompt as general as "How are you feeling?" or "What was your day like?" And you could just let that roam and let that go to see
Hmm.
where that lands you, because you do a lot in a day, especially,
Hmm.
when we're toward the end, we're middle for some, at 6 p.m. on a Saturday, we've done a lot on a weekend, so
Hmm.
letting your thoughts roam to see where you land. And you also mentioned nature. We people actually do nature journals, and that is one of the journals that I would challenge y'all to try next time you guys are outdoors or just experiencing nature in any way that you can. um, and journal about it, write it down, and be engaged with it. So that is
Wait.
really the point with any type of journaling that you do, is just being engaged. So go ahead.
So okay, so one of the things, because I asked, I was like, well, do I have to write words? Because I don't have words in my head right now, right? And so that was clear, like on the previous conversations we had before, right? Like outside of like the live stream, and I was like, okay, yeah, I think I can draw. But what's a so for me it has always been like there is uh a reason or like an end goal to my writing. So either I'm trying to be like a good writer, right? And then because I'm already have that pressure of like
Yeah,
writing good, I'm like, I don't want to do
right.
this.
That is one of the many pressures that journaling can put on people, is that people think I have to be a writer, or I have to know how to at least put sentences together, and you really don't. You really, really don't. So I will show a little bit more examples
Okay.
of those art journals. I am a writer, and I went to drawing as well. That was me stretching. I did a sound bath class today, so
Oh, cool.
that was me on the ground enjoying my sound bath.
Mhm.
Laying on a mat, because that's how it was today at the gym, is just we lay on our mat. So that's what I did, and it helped me just feel empowered about what I'm doing today, and just about my overall, who I am, is I am I'm I am good. I am a solid person, and that's what that sound bath was able to do. So that's what came up for me on paper. I thought it was going to be writing, but I just let it go, and there it is. It's what came out.
Mhm.
So that's the one of the beauties about journaling, is that it can look so many different ways. And because it looks so many different ways, there are different benefits that we could get from it as well. So as I mentioned before, some of these can help anybody could use with sharpened memory, right? But a lot
Mhm.
of students use um, the Q&As, the just asking questions and trying to find the answers to help with the memory or learning things. Journaling can help with reducing stress, and we can get better grades because we are more focused and how we're recording our information. So we are. There is one social psychologist. James Pennebaker, who has basically said, look, we can heal old wounds, we can reduce our stress, we can boost our immune system and lower our blood pressure if we focus on three questions when we're journaling.
Mm,
And that is what happened, how did you feel, and the hardest one for some people, why did you feel that way? So when people journal, whether they're writing or drawing, because we both, Eliz and I, we both went to drawing to what happened
mhm,
today, to how we were feeling today. Um, but we didn't get into the why of that feeling. So that is what we're going to practice next. Is it doesn't have to be with the same feeling that you did earlier, but it could be something new. And if I could remind y'all, that feelings thermometer that we started with, we want to stick in the green and the smiling, that we're okay. We're okay. We don't want to dive into anything too deep. That might want to be reserved for when you do work with your therapist. If you want to bring journaling into your sessions, you can take this format and practice this in a safer, more controlled space. But for learning purposes, we want to stick to happy thoughts today. So what happened? How did you feel about what happened? And why did you feel that way? And again, whatever comes up, whether drawing, writing, listing, whatever you'd like to do, go for it. So I'm going to give you a little bit longer this time because we are answering three different questions. So we're going to take, I'll check in about 3, 4 minutes. I'm going to do this with you and I'm going to have the music on again. Are there any questions before we get started? Okay.
no, I need to go grab a piece of paper. I don't have anything around me.
Yes, I should have. We are going to do a little bit of writing. You can do this on the computer, and I will at the end show you some apps, give you some resources because there are ways to track this online too.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm gonna step away for a second to grab
Sure,
something.
sure. All right. So we should be focused on the something that happened. It could be anything that happened today, anything that stood out to you from sometime during the week. It doesn't have to be negative. How it made you feel and why it made you feel that way. All right, go ahead and take about 30 seconds to wrap up. If we need more time, do you think we need more time? No, okay. Okay. So I stuck with my drawing my sound bath and I draw little stick figures. That's the other thing I want to mention is that you don't have to be an artist either. You don't have to be a writer. You don't have to be an artist to do an art journal or a sketch journal. Um, so I don't know if you were able to see or notice. I wasn't. That's not a smiling face. That was me letting some doubt creep in earlier today or in the last couple days, and the sound bath helped me feel calm and empowered because I um I was able to just sit in the space in which I could meditate without any distractions, and I was able to remind myself to just let everything go and remind myself that I am knowledgeable, I am competent, I do know what I'm doing, and which is competent. And so I was able to take that sound bath and set my intention and come out of there feeling stronger. So that's what happened. That's how I felt, and that's why I felt that way. If any, if did you want to? Oh, I think you're on mute.
I muted myself because I was gonna yell at my dog. I knew that when I went to get the paper. But yeah, okay. So yeah, I'll share because the first prompt that you gave us, I was like, no, I don't want to write words, right? So I focus more on drawings, and it was like this very abstract drawing. I started drawing flowers, and I was like, yeah, this makes sense. And then right now, I actually did a combination of both. Eh,
Yeah.
uh, if that can be seen. So like eventually I just sort of like recapped my experience of like I'm very happy because we got a lot of donations and that's going to allow us to buy a lot of things. And then I was like, cry happy, but also that means that I will have to watch a scary movie and that's not so great for me. So then I was just sort of like drawing that because my enemies, like my friends, they wanted me to watch this the Terrifier, a scary movie, and I'm like, no. So I think before every time I heard about journaling, I always had this idea of like, oh yuck, writing, I have to be like writing a lot, right? And
Mhm.
because we had to do for one of the classes, we had to do this like writing thing that was like a gratitude thing, which is great. I enjoyed
Yeah.
doing it, but then we had to read it because it was an assignment, we had to read it in class. And then I heard other people and they like sounded so much better than whatever my weird writing was, and I was like, oh, I should not do this. Right. So I was very much like, I shouldn't do this anymore.
Yeah,
So
and
there's
there's
that.
yeah, that's too bad, and get that. I understand that you could feel discouraged when yours doesn't sound the same as everyone else's,
Mhm.
and it won't because there every time I've done a journaling class, a journaling session, um, I like to hear from different people because the same question just brings out so many different things. Same thing with when I would teach. I would ask students to show me what they understood or show me what happened. And I would get videos, I would get PowerPoint presentations, I get
Mm.
digital art. And it was just really cool, which all translates to journaling because we can do all of that and call it journaling. I am glad you brought up the gratitude journal because that is one of the ones that gets a lot of attention, and it's probably why you that's one of the ones you've heard of before, because it is one that is shown that when we do it over the course of several months, just like with our what happened, how do you feel, just with
Mhm.
any type of journaling, really, it takes time to get these health benefits. It takes about 2 to 3 months of consistently doing it 3 to 5 times a day, about 10 to 15 minutes a day. So it does take some time and it does take some specific prompts and targeting these questions. So why do we do it though? If some of us hate it, some of us aren't, interested in journaling at all, some of us don't want to write. Um, but we are looking for things to help us de-stress. We're looking for different ways to help us connect with what we're doing around us. And according to our friends at ACEs Aware, managing stress, it comes with a variety of different aspects. So being engaged in what you're doing, which is journaling, is one way to do that. Sleep quality is another thing that we need to help manage our stress, and journaling can help us do that. So, a lot of us end up staying up, unable to fall asleep because we have a lot to do, or we are
Yeah.
anticipating the list. Oh my gosh, I have so much to do tomorrow. Um, so doing a bullet journal, which again can be all writing, it can be a list. Mine don't look like this. I pulled some examples so y'all can get a better idea of what they can look like. Mine look very plain. Mine is just words, just single list of or single 1 to 2 words of what I need to do for the week, really. I do more of a weekly to-do list,
Mm.
and I just write down the things that really need highlighting. Like I don't write down load the dishwasher because that's something I have to do as an adult, almost every day. So or do laundry. Those are not things I need to write. It's more like I should call the doctor. I should follow up on this, or those are the things that I write down. Some people like drawing things. Some people like drawing their grocery list, doing some images. So focusing on what you have to do or writing down what you have to do before you go to bed can help get rid of some of that anxiety that we're feeling for the next day. Same thing with a gratitude journal, or um, you can do this in the morning or at night. Write it down. It'll help put us in that state of calm. That yes, I am appreciative for things.
Mhm.
Maybe I can let go of some of the stress and get some sleep. So yeah, that's just one. And nature journals. This is where nature journals fall in. These collection journals. We go on trips, travel journals. We go outside to see things. We watch a lot of movies,
Mhm.
read books, comic books. We can track those down by keeping uh, either a written journal, or there are different apps that can help us with these things. So this is a good example of what I want to start doing with all the movies I watch because I'm getting to the point with movies when I'm starting and I'm 10 minutes in and I'm like, I think I've seen this, and I'll, stop. So keeping track of what you enjoyed, what you didn't enjoy, what you saw, what were the visuals like. So all of this just helps us, again, be more engaged with what we're doing. So if we go outside and look at some trees, look at some birds, we can draw that. We can write about what that made you feel. What did it smell like? You had a question for me?
Um, Not a question, but I wanted to. I guess I didn't realize how similar it was to like everything really else that we have discussed today. When because we talked about gender and sexuality and all that stuff like earlier in the day, and then we came to the conclusion that everybody has like a different thing, and right now you're talking about like different types of journal. But when you said, well, my journal doesn't look like this, and I don't write down like load the dishwasher, and I'm like, well, oh no, I have to write it because I will not do it,
Yeah.
right? Because I'm like, my
Yeah.
neurodivergent brain does not like it. And like one of the things too that I think people don't really understand about being neurodivergent sometimes is that for us, or like for some people, like it's a task, like do the dishes. But for us, it's like, no, because you have to get the soap, but you have to do this. So it becomes like 20 different tasks. And
Yeah.
that's overwhelming, right? Because we see all the
Yeah.
little pieces
Yeah.
attached to it. And so I've seen a lot of people do the really pretty journals that were on the other page where like there's drawings and like
Yeah.
everything is so
Oh, yes.
organized. And again, I'm like, is that because then in my head I have the expectation of that's what I want mine to look like. And I know it's gonna take a long time. So I just immediately give up and never start journaling.
Yeah. I wish my journals looked like these right here, but they
Yeah.
don't. They don't, and I'm okay with that because I do what I need to do for my journaling to get the benefits that I need from them.
Hmm.
And again, I wouldn't want to when I'm in person, I do show some of my journals a bit, but,
Hmm.
here you would be looking at, again, something like something like this, um,
Hmm.
or just a plain list of things, because that's how I do it, and
Hmm.
it doesn't mean that I can't show you or tell you the benefits of, like, "Look, this is what journaling is," because, again, I'm so excited to be able to bring something that doesn't fit with everyone, and it surprises a lot of people. Like, I can grasp, this little piece of journaling. I can do the movies. I can do, I can write down what comic books I read or what movies I watched. So I think that's really cool that we are just all in different places, and journaling can meet you where you are. That's what's beautiful about journaling is that you can put it down for months, years even, and come right back to it and still get those same benefits. But keeping up with it is where you're really going to get those health benefits when you're reducing your stress and lowering blood pressure, things like that. That's when you need to practice the consistency. But again, it's not all one size fits all. Um, so some of us need some reminding that we are strong, we are resilient.
Hmm.
Um, we can do journals like that as well. We can keep track anytime that someone gives you a good job or hey, that was a good idea, that was smart, that was just anything. You can write it down and keep that in a journal.
Hmm.
Um, anything that you're proud of or anything that you complete in a day. Like let's say you got those dishes done, you got the soap, you got the sponge, you dried it, you had the drying rack ready, you did all that
Hmm.
without I mean, whatever your goal was, you can celebrate that. That could be a strength. Like today I did this and it only took me 10 minutes instead of 30. So whatever that daily task that you're proud of, write it down.
My brother was doing this one. I forgot exactly what he was doing. Um, but I think it was like two things that went wrong and two things that and one thing that went right, and then he had
Mhm.
to sort of like reframe those things.
Reframe
And
'em.
then he started like that for like the first 3 days, and then he ended up morphing it into something else, which I both have ADHD, so we got sidetracked and forgot. I forgot to ask him what how he changed it, right? But I think I remember when I was like learning about like therapy, like my first year, I was very interested in art therapy. And one of the things that I discovered when it comes to art therapy is that it's more about the process and processing the emotions while you're doing like art than the final product, right? And then I was like, all right, cool. And then in my head, I was like, okay, I know everything I need to know about art therapy. I'm good now. And I guess that because I was curious as to like if they were like specific techniques or what you were supposed to do, right? But then that sort of answered the question that I had, and then I was like, all right, cool, I don't need to do any more research or anything like that. But again, just sort of keep going back to like I had these expectations of what journaling was supposed to look like, and
Right.
then I was already tired just thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, just I better not.
Yeah. So some of the people that have come to my class before tell me
Hmm.
that they're there because they've heard elsewhere that journaling could be beneficial for their mental health, but they either didn't know how to go about it,
Hmm.
and if they did dive into the internet to look it up, they were overwhelmed with just the sheer amount of information that is out there. So
Hmm.
that's why I'm here. I've
Well,
read a lot of this information, condensed it
yay!
for us.
Great.
Practicing.
I found out that that's the easiest way for me to learn. I was like, I'm just gonna ask somebody who's an expert
Yeah,
on
ask
this.
somebody who's who's taken the time to learn about it, and yeah, I love it, I love it.
Mhm.
And I'm like I said, I've said before, and I'll keep saying it throughout this presentation that I'm very excited to bring journaling, to bring both reading and writing to people. I love it. I love when I can do that.
Yeah, I'm taking some time right now to remind people that they're able to ask questions
Yes.
in the chat, um, because I have been asking questions. So if that's answering like whatever questions you had, great. But if you have additional questions or comments you would like to make, then that works as well. All right.
Okay. Alrighty. So this is just an example of just another way that journaling could look. Connecting ideas when we have big plans, when we have. This is one example of what a spider map can look like. A little bubble map, mind
Mm.
map, same like this. I'm not a huge fan of losing weight goals because it's more about health, really.
Mhm.
But again, an example of what some of these mind maps, bubble maps, and you all could do a search for templates, and you can get these types of maps online for free, and it'll help you map out your goals. You can also do something like this for your daily tasks. Again, it doesn't have to be a lot of writing, and it doesn't have to be so plain. Sometimes I do have like a little asterisk that gets out of hand and ends up being like a big old blob of ink that looks like art, but no one would appreciate it but me. But it doesn't have to be super plain. You can use different colors to organize yourself. Again, that's something I wish I would, had the patience and organization to do, but I end up with just one color. So, um, and it looks beautiful when people can use one color for one thing. They know that this color means that I have a
Mhm.
deadline. Some people have colors, like they have a little key code at the top of their journals, their little guide that shows what colors mean what. So you can get creative with it. Um, so this little entry is just something I found online. Someone who was going through the pandemic, just like all of us, and they decided to jot down what that looked like for them.
Mm.
And again, it was a combination of writing and drawing. And again, it doesn't have to be beautiful art, right? It's art our way. Um, and just the circle map is just an example of one of the templates you could get, free templates you can get online, to help get you started with journaling some of these ideas and goals that you may have. Because again, journaling is not just Dear Diary. It's a lot more complicated than that. And because it can get complicated, there are also some downsides to it. It's not all, boost our health and, process our feelings and traumas. Um, we can end up just being in our heads too much with journaling. We might end up wallowing, which is again that feelings thermometer that I put up at the beginning is we don't want to be in a constant state of stress and panic when we are journaling. That means it's not helping us, right? So we want journaling to be able to help process some of these feelings, to keep track of what we're doing or experiencing, not to keep us wallowing. Um, so instead of living our lives, we end up thinking like, "Oh, this will be good for my journal," or "This is good for, how I'm like, I wonder how I'm gonna write this down later." Um, we'll need to focus on being in the moment, right? That's a hot phrase, being in the moment, and experiencing whatever it is we're doing instead of thinking about journaling. So instead, we wanna process, what can I learn from this situation? How
Mhm.
can I grow? Or the ever so difficult but popular, put yourself in someone else's shoes. What might they be thinking about this same situation? So that's how you can turn some of these negative things that journaling can bring around. Um, and if we have time, um, y'all can, these are just some prompts that we can do without having to dive too deep into our own feelings.
Mhm.
However, we do end up landing there when we copy a lyric or a quote from a movie or book or whatever, wherever it is you found it. Um, we do end up, showing a lot about ourselves when we either draw something about how that makes us feel or why we're responding to it. It may surprise us what comes up. Um, but again, these things are all considered journaling, and they help us avoid diving too much into the writing for those of us who really don't want to do a lot of the writing or aren't able to. Um, and if you prefer doing art, creative art, these are the types of prompts that you're going to want to focus on. Um, so I really love the idea. I'm just love music. I'm into all sorts of different
Mhm.
musics. I love the idea of being able to create an album cover for an album that I've been listening to, and it it's really making me think about how I've been listening to this music because I've listened to the album twice recently. I'm gonna do it again before I actually start jotting down what that's gonna look like for me.
Mhm.
But it's making me listen to the music way different. I'm thinking about what each song is telling me, just me, and how I'm feeling about it. So it's really, I've never listened to music like that before. So it's absolutely making me engage with what I'm hearing. So that's the what I'm in the process of doing. Um, so I know we don't really have time for, sending you off to listen to a song, um, or definitely not an album or a movie. But this is one of the things I want to challenge you with as you go out into the world you live in, whether that be full of nature, movies, books, comics, is to draw something about it, about how it made you feel, and see what comes up for you. You could do the same with the photo.
And one of the things, as a therapist, I think I really wanted you to come and talk to us about all of this because one, I was not aware of any of it, and two, like because I do recommend journaling to a lot of my clients. I often say I don't journal myself because I find it boring, my ADHD, but I find other ways, right? But if journaling is your cup of tea, fantastic. And now I'm like, wait, it could be my cup of tea. I just need to like do a different like style of
Different
journaling, right? Which I
style.
had never like thought about. And then so whenever I suggest a journaling to other people that I'm working with, their first question is usually, um, but what do you journal about? Like how do I get started? And I think you had it before. You showed the three questions that what happened, how do you feel, and why did you feel that way?
Yes.
Yeah, and I was like, oh yeah. Like yeah, that's yeah. Like every like journal entry can just start like that, right? Like can it just be like the
It
first thing
can.
that pops
Yeah,
into your mind?
it
Or you
can.
just yeah, I seen one where it was I think it was a TED talk of this guy who he did like one drawing a day for like a year or something like that.
Mhm.
And that got his like creativity sort of like flowing once again.
Absolutely.
Right? And then I was
Absolutely.
like, "Oh," and then I remember you also said, I was like, "But you don't have to, like, write about anything, just getting the like, the practice of doing it, like, pen to paper."
Yep.
And then you also said, I was like, "Oh, you can do it on your computer," and I was like immediately, I was like, "No." I was like, "I don't want to, I want to write. I wanna
Yeah,
draw."
and this is a whole other area of research, but pen to paper is supposed to work differently when we process our feelings and emotions and our traumas. So pen to paper really is the way to go for processing, but I also know that we live in an age in which there's an app for everything. And there are just people who really gravitate toward computers and being able to create digitally. So,
Mhm.
my website's coming by the end of the month. Better Journal, Better Health. Yeah,
Oh,
it'll
I
be
like
here.
that.
I'm working on it. It's not live yet, but I'm getting there, and I there are a lot of resources. Like we talked about earlier, it can be overwhelming for people,
Mhm,
but
mhm,
there are sites out there already that can give you free prompt. Journalbuddies.com does they send out you can join their email list and they will send you free prompts. So if you want something like that to draw right, that's really easy. Um, art therapy, if you are um, you said you were looking into art therapy. We
mhm.
have an art therapy guru here on the list. So there's
Oh, yeah, yeah. I was like, "Wait, not me." I was like,
not
"I
you.
gave up after that one thing."
Yeah, so it a lot of the information that I found and used was from Psychology Today, but there were other resources I had. So if you guys are really into the research of this, starting with the search of journaling for your health will bring up a lot of information. Um, but it's all out there, and there are apps where you can um, record your mood. That's another form of journaling, a mood tracker.
Mhm.
There are ways to do that online. There are journaling prompts, free journaling prompts where you could do writing or videos. Creating a video, a vlog, or voice memos can also work for journaling as well. So again, it doesn't have to be writing or even
Voice
drawing. We can
memos.
talk. Yeah, we can create voice memos or videos. So yeah,
Yeah.
that and that is me. I am here, like I said, to be a guide to help you sort out, teach you about the different styles. So if y'all have any
And
questions,
I did tease earlier. I don't know because like people just sort of come and go because I've been here like all day. So I don't know who's here or not, but I did tease earlier that if they join our Discord, you are going to be doing a free workshop for us.
yes, I am.
Um, but
I'm
you do
very
have to be part of the Discord community, which is free, so you don't really have to do much. So yeah, definitely do that because I'm not like just play the music, and then you were like, I think just like having that encouragement of like, this is something that you can do. Like, give yourself permission to just have a few minutes to sit down and write down or like color or doodle whatever it is in your mind,
Absolutely.
that can be very beneficial. It's just
Absolutely.
mindfulness, right? Like just paying attention to the
It
moment.
is
Yeah.
mindfulness. Yeah, it is. Like I said, I've never been engaged in music the way I have now that I'm thinking about how I'm going to create this album cover for it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it is, yeah, and it is. I am hearing lyrics, and this is an album that I've heard before, and songs I've heard before, songs I'm familiar with, but now I'm like, "Wow, I didn't know that lyric was there," or, "Oh, I didn't hear that sound."
Mhm.
That's an instrument I didn't know was there. I'm not sure quite what it is, but I hear something different
Mhm.
that I hadn't heard before. So it's really fun. It's a really just different way of engaging with what you're doing, and just imagine what that looks like when you're outside and looking at the trees and the birds and just all the little critters and animals that walk around us, that fly around us that we don't notice because they're small and maybe we swat. But it's there. It's all there for us to journal and catalog
Yeah,
and
I
get
mean,
our
the
mental health
pace of our life is so rushed these days that we have no time to sit down and enjoy really anything.
right. Truly.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So, but just keep in mind that we're not constantly having to journal. We don't want to end up in that mode where we're just constantly thinking about how we're going to journal. So, we do get to enjoy lives without having to journal every day, all day.
Yeah. Wait, how do I?
And
Eh,
yeah,
there it goes. No, that's not the one. This one. Um, yeah. So again, like I said, Martha will be joining us to do a free workshop for us. Hint, hint. This one's going to be free on what is it?
the
Wait, can't
31st,
think.
right?
Yeah, the 31st on Discord. But you will be joining us for a lot of other events coming up. So yeah, can't say anything because nothing is planned, and I learned my lesson. Like I was like, oh look, listen, we're gonna do this thing in March, and I hired the artist, but we have no location, we have no marketing, we have absolutely no plan other than that's gonna be the artist. So I'm just gonna like chill a little bit on like the event creation for a bit until we have a little bit more funding. So once again, you guys can head over to Cefi, and it's an easier way for us to keep track of like how much has been donated and how many tickets. So a donation of only $10 is going to get enter you into the raffle to win or really cool prizes. And more of that obviously it means more opportunities. So if you donate like $50, that's 5 tickets going under your name for that raffle, and we'll be doing the raffle and voting on which scary movie I should watch tomorrow at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So join us once again because we do have a lot more people joining us tomorrow as well. And yeah, join our socials because we're going to be working a lot with Martha, and she's going to guide us in the uh, how to journal different styles and different
Different
ways.
styles.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Will help people find their style of journaling.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
So you have a website which is going to be live in just a few weeks. Can you
yes.
remind me of the name again?
Better journal, better health. Yes,
Okay,
it's gonna
Better
be
Journal, Better Health.
betterjournalbetterhealth.com.
Yeah,
Yes.
and if anybody wants to sort of like contact you to do like an
Yes, so
online thing or in the
yeah,
community,
so it's betterjournalbetterhealth@gmail.com. Made it easy.
easy, right? Yeah.
Yes, betterjournalbetterhealth@gmail.com.
And if
Yes.
you are in the future listening to this on our YouTube at some point, that this the all of this information will be in the description section. So you're welcome. But yeah, definitely join our Discord. I think if you go to our website psychologyforgeeks.com, there is a link immediately to our Discord. And let me just open up our Discord real fast and say we have about 60 wait 60 community members in there, and like it's only been a few months since we started, and we're gonna journaling. The journaling workshop is gonna be sort of like the first one, but we're gonna do a lot more. Like every single month is gonna be something different. Um, so thank you so much for joining us today. I won't take too much of your time. It is
Thank
so dark outside now. I'm like, I think it's like sleepy time, and it's only like not even 7.
I feel that way too. I feel that way too, and it gets so dark so fast.
It
Yeah.
does, yeah, for sure. So, well, okay, doesn't seem like anybody has any questions or
Okay.
comments. But all right, we will see
Well, thank you
you
all for
around in all
coming.
the
Thank you
activities.
for being here.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.